Countless predators have tried their luck against the ancient big lizards that rule the swamps, but none ever made it out without sustaining some deep scars. They don't just look the part, they walk the walk too, which is exactly what we're about to see today. For a piece of marshmallow, this pig made the mother of all blunders by wading too deep into the water. There was a gigantic crocodile right there, and I'm not sure how the pig missed it, but it did. The croc was huge, like something out of a nightmare, and before the pig could even squeal, the bloodthirsty beast lunged. It caught its leg and wouldn't let go, and the real horror show started. The croc began dragging its prey deeper into the water, and as much as the pig thrashed and struggled, it was no use. This is what it's like for anything that gets near these cold-blooded monsters. One wrong step, and bam, life's over. Not the brightest bulb in the pack. Actually, none of the pack members were very bright, to be honest. This feral pig decided to take a stroll in some gator-infested waters. The pig had barely made it into the water when a huge alligator's jaws slammed shut on its head, smashing its skull and ending its life right there and then. It's like watching a car crusher in action, but way faster and way scarier. But as brutal as it was, at least the pig didn't suffer. It probably didn't even know what hit it. Its reflexes probably kicked in without it even understanding why. Anyway, the pig's life was over and the croc's dinner was ready. Let us at least hope the croc had a date and this was for a romantic dinner. Again, I'm not sure how this pig failed to see the ginormous crocodile that was literally right under its nose, but I guess there are no limits to stupid. The croc didn't mess around, it was a real pro. One surprise bite straight to the face and the pig was gone. That was all it took. Lights out, game over. Just like that. But the croc wasn't done. It dragged its kill into the water and started doing some death rolls and shaking it around in order to cut it up. The croc was ripping off chunks left and right, giving a masterclass in predatory efficiency. Ruthless, yes, but straight to the point, just like a banker. Strolling by a little pond, this baboon had no idea that its life was just about to end. Out of nowhere, an alligator exploded out of the water, and the baboon didn't even have time to think before the gator had it in its jaws. The attack was so fast, it was like watching a magic trick where the baboon's hopes and dreams were made to disappear. Here we have an entire gang of baboons that was chilling by the swamp and having a grand old time. They were probably grooming each other, picking bugs, you know, typical baboon stuff. But of course, a croc had to steal the show. It was his territory after all. The giant beast burst out of the water like it was shot from a cannon. It snagged one of the baboons, and that was when all hell broke loose. The other baboons went absolutely crazy. They were on a rescue mission, and they swarmed the crocodile, going full-on baboon commando. The croc tried to hold on to its victim, but the baboons kept attacking until it let go of their friend. The croc went back home feeling not only defeated, but also reminded that it had no real friends like that baboon did. There was this young male lion who was a total badass here. It clearly saw a crocodile in the water, but still decided to YOLO it across anyway. The lion jumped in and started paddling like it was going for the Olympic gold. Meanwhile, the croc was playing submarine, creeping up on our fearless big cat. The croc suddenly attacked, but here's the crazy part. Even in the water, the lion still held its own. It was like a WWE match in the middle of a river. But even though it was the croc's territory, the lion defeated the giant beast and made it to the other side in one piece. The lion definitely earned its King of the Jungle title that day, and the crocodile was very lucky it didn't face it on land, considering how things went on its own turf. An ambitious croc tried to attack an entire pride of lions that were crossing this muddy river here. The croc saw them and decided to go for the last lion in line. It went right for the lion's belly, but the lion was no pushover. As soon as it felt those teeth, it pulled off some ninja cat moves. The lion leaped up like it had springs in its legs, breaking free from the croc's grip instantly. It scrambled back to shore as fast as it could, and once it was safe, the nervous big cat turned around and started roaring its head off at the water. It was probably cussing out the croc in lion language and talking about how much it hated getting its paws wet. Two macho-looking lion brothers did a quick check before jumping into the water here. They were probably feeling pretty smug about their safety inspection skills, but halfway across the lake, a huge croc popped up and went straight for one of them. They fought viciously inside of the water, but the other lion was like, "Nope, I'm out," and started swimming back to shore, leaving its brother behind. Meanwhile, lion number 1 and the croc were going at it, splashing and thrashing the whole 9 yards. It was hard to tell who was winning or if the lion even made it out live, but I'm hoping it did. While trying to enjoy its meal, this lion had to deal with a massive crocodile that showed up uninvited. The two predators started a crazy tug of war over the prey, where the croc was trying to drag it into the water while the lion wanted to drag it the other way. Things got messy real quick, and the croc was tearing off chunks like it was at an all-you-can-eat buffet, while the lion was swatting at it with its paw. Neither of them were thrilled about sharing, but they weren't exactly eager to duke it out either. They kept their eyes on each other, probably thinking, "I could take you, maybe." In the end, they just grudgingly tolerated each other's presence. They both had to eat after all. This leopard thought it was being real smart. It spotted what looked like an easy meal laying dead in the water and kept creeping up to the water's edge, thinking it was gonna snag a free lunch. But surprise, surprise, that dead prey was actually attached to a very much alive croc that really hated sharing. Every time the leopard got close, the croc would pop up like a jack-in-the-box, scaring the spots off the poor thing. You'd think the leopard would learn after the first couple times, but no, it was like watching a comedy routine. The leopard would back off, wait a bit, then try again, and again, and again. Each time, same result. Angry croc, startled leopard. Finally, after who knows how many attempts, the leopard got the message. It walked away probably feeling pretty dumb and definitely still hungry. In the dead of night, this massive croc had been lurking near the swamp, waiting for its chance. When a leopard passed by, the croc immediately struck. The leopard didn't stand a chance, and before it could even react, the croc had killed it and was dragging it away. Was it looking for a quiet spot to eat it, or maybe it was stashing the leopard's body for later? Either way, that croc had just pulled off a pretty impressive hunt. It had taken down one of the savanna's top predators, one that's known for hunting crocodiles like it was nothing. Here's a leopard that wasn't ready to go. The big cat was taking a drink from the river when it spotted trouble. A huge croc was sneaking up, trying to be all stealthy in the water. The leopard wasn't having any of that, and quick as a flash, it bolted from the riverside. It knew better than to hang around a hungry croc. A simple yet effective rule that would have saved those foolish pigs that we saw earlier. The croc had launched itself out of the water like it was a missile, but it was too late for dinner. The jumpy big cat was already out of there. Can't be too careful around these things. Catching a sight of a croc nearby, this tiger thought it might have a chance at a tasty meal, so it went into stealth mode. It crept up real slow, taking its sweet time, trying not to make a sound. The tiger was getting closer and closer, and it was practically within pouncing distance when something weird happened. The big cat just stopped. It froze for a second, then started walking away. Maybe the tiger got a good look at how massive that croc was and decided it had bitten off more than it could chew. Or maybe it suddenly remembered that it had other plans for dinner. Whatever the reason, the tiger just noped right out of there. Three tigers were sitting right in front of a giant crocodile by the water's edge here, all sprawled out like they owned the place. Everything was cool for a bit. Then one of the tigers decided to get frisky. It stood up and started moving towards the croc. Now, you'd think a big bad croc wouldn't be scared of anything, but this one wasn't taking any chances. As soon as it saw the tiger coming, it moved back and slipped into the water, getting away from the big cat before it could try anything. Okay, so get this. A tiger jumped into the water to try and hunt a crocodile, and there was this insane throwdown between them right in the river. Now, a croc should have had it in the bag, right? But this tiger was something else. It fought the giant reptile right on its turf and somehow won. The fight was wild from what we could see, but the tiger managed to get the upper hand in the end. It wrestled that croc like a pro, and before you knew it, it climbed out of the water and walked away without a scratch. Not even a limp. It did fail to hunt the crocodile, yes, but it was insanely brave of it to even consider trying to hunt one in the water, let alone actually trying it and getting out in one piece. Sometimes these predators really do surprise you. While this tiger was going at it with a massive wild boar, a greedy crocodile decided to get involved. It spotted the action and thought that it could surprise the two animals. The battle was a real slobber knocker, and the big lizard didn't think that they would notice it coming in. So it crawled out of the water and started heading straight for the brawl. The tiger was on the ground, locked onto the boar's neck and trying to strangle it. But even during all of that, it still sensed the croc coming, and without letting go of the boar, the tiger pulled off this crazy move. It flipped around, still hanging onto the boar's neck, and leaped away from the croc. Then, quick as lightning, it was back on its feet. It grabbed the boar and dragged it out of there, leaving one disappointed croc behind. Tigers are impossibly impressive, don't you think? This massive anaconda had most of its body out of the water, and only its head was dipping in. A caiman spotted it and decided to approach, very slowly and quietly. At first, the anaconda was cool with it, even sliding into the water a bit more, but then things got tense. The caiman got right up in the snake's face, and that was when the anaconda lost its cool. It freaked out big time and started booking it out of there as fast as its slithery body could go. The snake tried diving back into the water from a different spot, but the caiman wasn't fooled, and it saw where the anaconda went and started heading that way. Sadly, that was where the clip cut off, leaving us hanging. What do you guys think happened next? Having snagged itself a little anaconda snack, this gator decided to act quickly and end the battle before it even started. It had the snake tightly locked in its jaws and it started shaking the living daylights out of it. The gator was playing it smart. All that shaking was meant to mess up the snake, make it dizzy and weak so it couldn't fight back. And from the looks of it, the gator had pretty much sealed the deal. That snake was in trouble with a capital T. It seems like a foolish anaconda had tried to wrap itself around this massive caiman, and it doesn't look like it ended very well for the smaller serpent. The caiman was chewing on the anaconda's head, so it looks like the vicious reptile had killed it pretty quickly. The caiman was wearing the anaconda like a trophy around its neck, as if to say, "Look at me, I'm the boss around here." It swam around proudly, showing off its new accessory. It looked like a bizarre fashion statement in the animal kingdom. That snake went from predator to bling in no time flat. Talk about a power move. This wild clip was going around of a monster croc getting into it with an anaconda underwater. It was like a heavyweight showdown in the murky depths. The croc wasn't messing around. It kept chomping down on that snake over and over with its ginormous jaws. You could almost hear the crunch. The poor anaconda was having a really bad day. but it didn't look like it was moving much, so it may not have suffered much before dying. Maybe its death was pretty quick. Coming face to face with a massive anaconda, this crocodile decided to act cool. It moved towards the snake very slowly, and once it was close enough, it struck faster than you could blink. It snatched that anaconda in its monster jaws and went to town. Started shaking the poor snake like it was trying to win a headbanging contest. The croc was giving it all it had, trying to finish the job quick. The snake was toast, as it wasn't possible to survive an attack that violent, especially as a snake. These tourists were out cruising on their boat when they stumbled across something wild. There, sitting on the riverbank, was this massive croc. And boy, was it having a feast. The croc had a pretty big python in its mouth and was going to town on it. The snake must have put up a fight, but it was no match for those razor-sharp teeth. Bursting out of this super muddy, grassy spot in the swamp, this crocodile lunged at its prey, a pretty big python. The place looked like a salad had had a mud bath. It was a total mess. The gator was focused though, and it snatched up that python in the blink of an eye. It went straight for the head, closing its jaws down on it until the snake's skull got crushed. It then dragged that poor python deep into the water, disappearing from sight. And we all know what went down next. If I hadn't watched this myself, I would have never believed it. This zebra had not one, not two, but 5 crocs coming at it. The crocs were dead set on turning it into lunch, but the zebra turned out to be a true warrior. Somehow, this crazy beast took on all 5 crocs and came out on top. It wasn't just playing defense either. When the crocs tried to bite it, the zebra bit right back, and it actually got one croc's upper jaw in a death grip, paralyzing the thing. The zebra was practically running the show, and in the end, this absolute legend just strolled out of the water like it was no big deal. Sure, it got roughed up pretty bad, but the way it was moving, you knew it was gonna pull through. This poor zebra had a real rough go of it, but it couldn't handle it like the one before it did. When the crocs came for the poor sucker, they had their game plan down pat. They pinned it down good, and the zebra couldn't even twitch a muscle. It was like watching a striped piñata getting whacked, but way more brutal. One of these ruthless monsters had the zebra's whole head in its mouth, just crushing it nice and slow. Talk about a headache, right? While this was going down, the other crocs were tearing into the rest of the zebra like it was a Black Friday sale. The poor zebra was probably begging to just drown already, anything to escape being eaten alive. It was a real horror show. Nature at its roughest. Man, this zebra must have done some real bad stuff in its past, because its end was straight up nightmare fuel. It had stumbled into the worst possible scenario. It fell smack dab in the middle of at least 5 hungry crocs, and they acted like they had been on some crazy diet for ages. There was no mercy, no hesitation. They were death rolling that zebra like it was a competitive sport, trying to keep it from moving while they tore into it. But here's the one silver lining. It looked like the zebra checked out early from the pain, so at least it didn't have to suffer throughout the whole ordeal. So there were these zebras hanging out by the water getting a drink. No big deal, right? Wrong. One of them, this young little fella, got a bit too close to the edge, and out of nowhere, a monster croc burst out of the water. It zeroed in on the youngest zebra, probably figured it'd be the easiest to wrestle into the water. The croc was lightning fast, and before anyone knew what was happening, it had grabbed the poor zebra's snout. Little by little, it dragged it into the water, showing it no mercy. The other zebras, they couldn't run fast enough, but can you really blame them? It's every animal for itself in the wild, and that poor youngster had just learned that the hard way. Trying to cross a river is one of the most dangerous things that an animal could do in the wild, and that was exactly what this zebra had to do. It got attacked by a group of crocodiles, but the zebra wasn't going down easy. It kicked, it bit, it fought like crazy, and for a hot minute, it looked like it might actually make it. But the crocs had done a number on its legs, and even when it managed to shake them off, it couldn't get far. Its legs were toast. The crocs came back for round 2, and this time, it was game over for the poor zebra. This Nile croc was prehistoric, dinosaur-level huge, like something straight out of Jurassic Park. It was just lurking in the water, waiting while a bunch of gazelles decided it was a good time to play a game of River Frogger. The croc was so enormous, it made the gazelles look like little bite-sized snacks. As they were splashing across, the bloodthirsty beast saw its chance. With unbelievable speed, it snatched one of the gazelles. The croc's jaws were like a bear trap, slamming shut over and over, crushing that gazelle like it was nothing. The ruthless monster then gulped down the gazelle whole. Didn't even bother to chew. As it was sipping from this tiny puddle, there was a pigeon chilling on this gazelle's back, like some Disney movie scene. But little did they know this puddle was hiding a monster. Out of nowhere, a croc burst out of the water, and the gazelle tried to bolt, but the croc grabbed its horns. During the struggle, something really awful happened. The croc twisted and snap, broke the gazelle's neck. Even when the croc let go, the poor gazelle was done for. It was jumping around in agony, and it couldn't even lift its head. Eventually, it just collapsed, dead in the water. But the horror show wasn't over. The big croc tried to keep other crocs away from its prize. Fat chance. More crocs showed up, and it turned into a feeding frenzy. They tore into that gazelle like there was no tomorrow, and when they were done, there was nothing left of it. Not even a scrap. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.